I'm Rebecca from the Glitch Stitchery. I'm here today with a tie-dye video because we're getting back into that time of year. So we have two, well, I guess technically three projects going. So we're going to be dyeing a linen shirt in an ice dye method, and then after it is fully washed and ready, we're going to embroider on the now tie-dyed backdrop. It's something I've been planning for a while, and it is hopefully something I'll be able to wear when it's all said and done. While that is processing, I'm also going to be tie-dyeing using an ice dye method for a different shirt. That one is a cotton blend t-shirt dress. Yeah, t-shirt dress. So that one is all set up as well. And then whatever is left over from dye from those two, I have a third object, another dress already bound up, and then I will just add the leftover melted dye on top of that so it's not wasted. So I'm gonna go get those set up and get the ice set up, and I'll be right back. Alright, so we're at the 3-hour mark for the tie-dye, ice dye video. We have had some melting, but because so much of the ice is just stuck in this one large block, it's going to be a while before it's fully dry. I mean, not fully dry, fully melted. As you can see, a lot of the edge portions, I'll try not to do this too fast so you don't get dizzy. A lot of the edge portions didn't get very much ice, but they did get wet when I sprayed everything down to get the dye off the edges of the container. So they're pretty dark. I don't know if the whole thing will be that dark or just the edge pieces. So we'll see. I'm very curious to see how this one comes out. And then if I pan this way, we've got the other one going over here. Now this one I started like 2 hours later because I had other things going on, but there was much less ice, so it'll probably melt around the same time. Now I remembered as I was moving this to this room that I forgot to put anything underneath the shirt to keep it from just soaking in the juices. So I took those two sticks there and I moved everything over and I shoved the other shirt in to soak up any leftover dye as everything melts, because I don't want to just end up with a basically black shirt. So I'll occasionally spin that shirt around so that it gets more on the other edges as well. But I actually have like a little thing underneath here, like a little lid of something, just to hold it at a slight angle so that the dye all pours in that direction. So yeah, I'll check back in a few more hours and we'll see where we're at. I am quickly losing light, but so this will be my last video for tonight, and then I'll check on this again in the morning. As you can see, we still have some ice left on this one because they had really big chunks of ice. And then on this one, almost all the ice is melted. There's just a little bit left. I can't wait to unwrap this one because it looks like it's going to be really interesting. I'm a little nervous about the amount of dye that's left in there and just leaving it like that. So before bed I might, I don't know, pour it out maybe? Yeah, I'll probably do that. But that's where we're at right now, and I kind of like how this other dress is coming out too. It looks interesting. So that is it for tonight, and I will check on these again in the morning. Alright, I poured it out. I just wanted to show you that. So that'll be much better. Alright, it's the next day. The ice is totally melted, so you can get a pretty good sense of what this is going to look like at this point. It still has to cure for another day, so I guess I'll be rinsing it tomorrow. So that one is the linen shirt. There's the extra dress that I used to soak up all the extra dye. And there's the ice dyed dress. So yeah, these are all just going to sit one more day, and then I will wash them tomorrow. Alright, so all of my tie-dye is done, processed, washed, dried, currently folded up in a pile just off screen so that I can show you. So in addition to the stuff that I started with, once I started going, I wanted to keep going, so I ended up batch dyeing a whole bunch of shirts. I was trying to experiment with the shirts are wet and the powder is dry. I don't know what the word for that technique is. It was just something I was playing around with because that's how I like to do my yarn dyeing. So I want to see how it translated to tie-dyeing shirts. So top three, let's see, top two. So these two were done with some leftover green dye that I had already absorbed into the water, and then I added blue powder. They're not really anything special, but it's a nice shade of blue. And these were in my sister-in-law's size, so they're probably gonna go to her, most likely. So then the next three are ones that they're my little sister's shirts, and I helped her get them set up, and then she picked the colors, and then I just facilitated getting them processed and washed. So she over-dyed her Mario shirt. This one actually came out pretty nice. I like that one. Sorry for any background noise, Mike is home. All right, this one is another one of Lily's. This is probably my favorite of her three. So this one was an Old Navy shirt, so it's a different texture than the shirts that I did. Most of mine were Adidas. And her last shirt. So this one was folded up into a rectangle and then just kind of rotated in the dye, so it ends up with kind of like rectangular lines across boxes. All right, so those are her three, and then there was the batch with orange, yellow, and green. I like these. I like all of them, but I like the colors on these ones. It is a very random dye method, so they don't really have any rhyme or reason to the way the dye struck for the most part. The back on this one in particular I like. And then we've got two more shirts, and we have the two dresses and the button down. So we've got this one. And this one. Love this one. So yeah, they didn't really strike in any logical way. It was just very random how the dye struck and moved, which is fun, but I am going to do more precise tying methods in the future so I can get at least a little bit more texture going on. I had my sister tie a bunch of them to save me time, but she tied them all exactly the same. So I am going to retie some of the ones that are left. So beyond that, I have the two dresses. So this is the one that was ice dyed, this one here. And I'm glad I got these done because I wanted to wear them on my vacation. So yeah, there's this one. I really love the way the dresses came out. I don't even know if you can see how much texture they have on them, but they're really fun. So there's this one. And then with the leftover dye, I had one more dress tied in a rectangle. So I just kept rotating it to absorb the extra dye. And it ended up with lines and rectangles all over. I love it. This one is probably the most even of how everything came out, which I like. And then finally the ice dyed button down, which again, very random because ice dyeing is just a very random process. And I didn't tie it at all, so there's that. It kind of looks like a watercolor set exploded on it, although I kind of like that. So this one, I'm going to iron it, and we're going to do some embroidery designs on some of the more decorative parts of the shirt, so like the pocket, maybe the sleeve cuffs, maybe the back between the shoulders, like around here. I'm not sure yet, but I've been thinking about it. I think I'm going to make that a separate video just because this one's already pretty long. Well, long for a tie-dye video for me, and also because the embroidery is going to take a long time. So you can expect to see that in the future. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.